Good morning to you. Welcome to further readings from Walking Slowly Downhill, a long walk in 2015 along the Murray. This is the 81st day, an account of the 81st day through some rest time in Melbourne. Miners and magpies first hunt each other, then defend their territory. That's what I observed today out on the pavement. 3 miners hunt a tiny magpie until the little bird flees into traffic and stutters above the roof of a speeding car, somehow managing to avoid it. The parents come looking for their little one, and once they locate it, they flank it on each side with their bulkier presence, and the 3 stutter off together to wait it out under the shade of a tree. The miners now keep their distance. They watch the magpie family from high above, perched together on the electric wires that span Queen's Parade, ready to swoop should the opportunity present itself, but it doesn't. The magpie parents never leave the side of the magpie child, at least not while I'm there. It gets colder as the sun lowers, and so I leave. As I do, I look towards faraway trees, and I briefly bring into focus the bulky silhouette of an ascending skyscraper. I stop for a moment to consider it, consider the horizon before me, this world I inhabit. Shadows lengthen, clouds scatter, and headlights are switched on. I feel very still even as I walk on. Paradoxical, I know, but deeply comforting. Somewhere not too far away, there's a kitchen with a burning hearth on which fragrant food is being lovingly prepared by a gathering of carefree, open-hearted people. A window opens onto their garden, and shards of late sunlight illuminate the leaves of a lemon tree in blossom. Then I think, that's enough for me. I don't need to be one of those people, or to smell the fragrance of their food or of the lemon blossoms, or even feel the warmth radiating from the hearth. It's enough for me to believe all of this still exists, and perhaps only a street away. I pick up my step and wheel back into my own life, its still narrowness now loosened and fluttering a little from the small breeze, a zephyr really, that winds its way from the very center of my chest directly into the space just ahead of me. The 82nd day still in Melbourne. On the 3rd day of its latest occupancy, summer finally decides to take the reins. The sun's heat is felt more directly, more urgently. The edges of formerly green leaves have become, over the last 3 days, ever so slightly browned. I both seek the sun's solace and then flee from its fierceness the minute it embraces me. But that's due to a malaise that's more than skin deep. I dream about shaking it off quickly, but I must be patient. It's lifelong, and it will shed itself of its own accord. Houses in Italy. Once again, I'm scanning the website I have somehow become subscribed to for the one that's ideal. But none can quite fulfill all the key requirements, which I of course keep adding to or reinventing once any house even remotely approximates fulfillment. They're either slightly too expensive, or the garden is too large, or in shade, or too small. The rooms look dank, then far too bright. Some are too remote, some in streets or locations that seem far too busy. And so it goes on. We know what all this means, don't we? Yes, we do. Then I think of the walking downhill, slowly downhill caravan, of its intimate, easy to reach cave-like spaces, its nest-like feel, its simplicity, its unpretentiousness, its rumpled skin. and above all, its ability to suddenly move and shift into any space, in any direction I might will myself to go. Maybe that's the answer: turn the entire local world into a home and allow the caravan to constitute my body, the kernel of the outer walnut world. The light from its inside could seep out from its modest windows and over the rest of my home, trees in the living room, mountains in the kitchen, roaring rivers in the bathroom. But now that the sun is set and darkness falls upon us, I sit in a Queen's Parade Greek cafe, listening to an unnamed singer's ancient voice take me straight to the heart of the caravan. Not only that, as I look through the cafe's windows, I see that all at once we're moving across mountains, fording rivers, and resting under the shade of trees, and never for a moment do we move outside my home. And now I suddenly understand an astoundingly simple premise. For me, the world is Italy. There's no sign declaring it so, of course, though there may be one somewhere beyond that hill, or by the bridge down there that spans the river. I haven't ever seen any. But right now I just know that the entire world's boundaries are formed in the shape of my country. And that means I no longer need to seek its essence in whatever lies ahead, as I always have, like a scent I'm attempting to follow. I no longer need to do this because I have never left it. The 83rd day, still in Melbourne. Sydney Road on an early summer's day. Each time I visit this part of Melbourne, I'm astonished at how it keeps changing. It used to be full of Italians, Maltese and Greeks. They're all long gone, or at least most have left. The last 10 years have seen many families from the Middle East, from Africa and Asia settle here. It's another Melbourne, and there are many of them. Melbourne is now many cities in one. I'm also made up of many cities. My great-grandmothers on my father's side was Spanish, Emilia Retez, from a small town near Barcelona. My mother's ancestry is Middle European, and she herself asserted all her life that her ancient ancestors were the Vikings. Who am I? I walk down Sydney Road and I'm comfortable with everything I see, hear, and feel that isn't Anglo-Celtic. Yet we are all here because of the 18th century's British colonial expansion. Walking slowly downhill only exists in the form it does because I have been graciously granted permission to walk the banks of the longest river in the continent, but by those who have been here for close to 60,000 years, before any of our millennial ancestors even knew this vast land existed. So, what keeps calling me to Italy when I am so many? The illusion of home. And in the end, it might just be the inside of a Viscount caravan. All of the outside, too. So many contradictions and so many paradoxes. Endless paradox world we inhabit. Until tomorrow, thank you for listening.